Good day, everyone. So, I hope you're doing good right now and please stay at home for our safety. So, today we are in the English 123 translation studies. By the way, I am Anan Mabol, your presenter today, and I will be discuss the translation and culture. I hope you will learn and get something new. This subject is very important to us, especially in the students nowadays. Because of the globalization, we interact with the other people around the world. So, how can we communicate with them if we don't know how to translate a language, different language? We know that we have a different culture and different language. So, um, later on, we will define or find out what is a translation and culture. What are the importance of these two, translation and culture, and also we will find out if the translation and culture have a connection to each other. So let's proceed. Translation studies prepare students for various careers. Some graduates choose to start their own business as a freelance translator. Others become in-house translator or project manager for translation companies or in the international businesses. There are also rules in such language service industries as a international publishing, journalism, public relation, and teaching. Translation studies can give to us a better opportunity when we are searching a job, especially if we are working in abroad, international. So even if we are in the home, if we know how to translate, we've been studying translation study. There is also an opportunity for us, um, especially nowadays that we are a 21st century that only that technology we can work at home in the help of technology. So translations enable effective communication between people around the world. Um, if you know how to translate, and then we can easily communicate to the other people, even we are in at home, or just like as I said, when we are working in a different places, just in abroad, and then especially when we are working in a business that we need to export to import our product, and we need to um, invite or invest, so invest in different people in different country. It is a carrier for the transmission of knowledge, a protector of cultural heritage, and also a essentially to the development of a global economy. As I said earlier, that translation is very important, especially in business. So cultural translation is a studied through cultural anthropology. A field of anthropology focused on cultural issues among humans. This discipline questions translation through cultural differences in the translation context between people. A anthropological translation of cultures need to deal with the issues between the source and the target language. That is to say, he must respect at the same time the cultural source of point of view and the target. The importance of culture in translation: it gives birth to language. Translation and culture are intimately connected. So culture and translation are intimately connected to each one. Meanings in both source and target language are profoundly affected by their cultural context, especially in business translation. A phrase that appears essay to translate may actually contain a cultural subtleties, and unless they are accounted, and then can bring just the opposite meaning than in intended. So translation without deep cultural context can be dangerous, especially when meaning are critical. For just example, you are watching a Korean movie, and then the character um, dialogue was a 안녕하세요, 보고 싶다, opa, just like that. So it means hello, I miss you, brother, or just like that. And then in my language, the word bugo shipda is different in their language. So for me, in Maguindanao, the bugo shipda is bugo means stupid. So the ship is stupid. So we need to analyze the culture of the Korea, and because the meaning of bugushipda is I miss you, and that is different in my language because bugushipda is a stupid ship. So I might be hurting their culture, their word, their language, because my language and their language are different, and then that's why the meaning are make have a sense of critical. um I can say that I didn't respect, just like that. So because of the translation, um, studying the translate, we can learn that the word bugushipda is I miss you. So let's proceed. Translation is a cultural activity which is influenced by many social and cultural factors. Language is the carrier of culture. Culture is the soil of language, and translation is the bridge of intercultural communication. Translation is culture bound. So when we translate, we transport not only words from one container to another, but rather one entire culture into another, including the social, political, and other conditions that surround the translator in his or her own environment. So, cultural issues in translation are connected with the problem of understanding the text to be translated, because in many cases the translator is not necessarily a the member of the same culture. So from studying in different culture, you can learn something new, and what are the differences of what are the uniqueness of their culture, and then it can easy for you to translate the text even you're not belong in that particular culture. without any cultural or functional pre-knowledge. The translator will not understand a piece of information, even it is presented to him or her in the most logical way. So that's true. If we will not study the different culture, you will not understand what they mean. We need to undergo a process. We need to um, learn and also to study their culture. The important is you have a knowledge in that particular culture for us to easy or to be better understand that particular culture or language, and also so that in the future we will not encounter a difficulties in around the field. Translation plays a major role when it comes to understanding the culture or translation any document in the respective culture. For instance, if a translation service in Mumbai works on a business documents for UK client, then the tone, slang, and the language have to be according to the UK business culture. This is where the importance of translation in culture comes to the role. If you are participating in a business and your guest or client is from in the UK, so you need to speak also in their language so that you can easily understand um, each one, and then they will not have a bored, and so that they will have a interesting because you can communicate each other in a good way. Culture, it reflects the way in which people behave. It is a pattern in which we analyze the behavior, social habits, beliefs, traditions, and customs. When we are trying to know more about the culture, language plays an important role in the understand language. One needs translation as one might not know of the particular language. In the translation involving the transposition of thoughts expressed in one language by one social group into the appropriate expression of another group entails a process of cultural decoding, recoding, and encoding. So, the translator cannot avoid culture in the process of translation, but by identifying the source and also the target culture and the audience, um, the translator can decide the suitable strategy to translate culture. If the translator have a knowledge how to translate in that particular, um, the translator will use a strategy. Yes, we use we need to use a strategy for us to communicate easily in a different language or culture. Translation can promote cultural exchanges among people of different cultures throughout the world, enhancing dialogue among various people, providing opportunities for interactions, and contributing to civilization. As I said earlier, that if you know how to translate, you have been studying the translation language, and you have a better works or jobs opportunities for the future, because there's a lot of works or jobs in connection of the translation of being a, because most of the translation works that, yes, you can work at home, mostly is in the business, um in the international, just like that. For every translated sentence, the translator must be able to decide on the importance of its cultural context, what the phrase really means, not necessarily what it literally means, and convey that meaning in a way which makes sense not only in the target language but also in the context of the target language. So, some cultural problems in translation. So we have a idioms, proverbs, and cultures bound words cause by cultural problems in translation. They all share in that they have a cultural origins and therefore required a cultural backgrounds before translation begins. I will give an example. A translator knowledge of culture help him or her produce the most precise expression, which sometimes depends on culture. For instance, when a translator is asked to translate the Arabic sentence into English, he or she should be aware of both Arabic and English cultures and how the differences between the two cause many problems in translating these sentences. So you need to be aware that if you will translate a particular text, we need to consider their culture because, as I said earlier, we have a different culture. So to avoid a critical meaning, you need to search, or you have a knowledge of the background of their culture. So the importance of translation in culture is that it helps to communicate the beliefs and ideas in a proper way, which could be understood by people from different literacy and cultural backgrounds, just like I said earlier. So, that's all. This is the references that I've been gathering my presentation, and then I hope you've been learn something new, and also if you have a more if you have a some curious question, you can comment below so that I can share also my some knowledge. And then whatever differences that we have, we need to respect that one. And then, as I said, that we have a different culture, different language, how we produce our language, but we need to respect the differences of everyone. So translation is very important to us, especially um, just like especially in the students, for us to, if in the near future, if you we will searching a job, and then and also if we've been planning to work abroad, and then I know if we are in first time we're going to abroad, we don't know where's the place, so that if we know how to translate, we can communicate with them, we can ask what the place is, um we can ask some queries, and then That's all. So I hope you've been learn. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your time and for your time. Thank you. Thank you. God bless everyone.